You cannot beat that real value of you in your own partner that you love and cherish and connect with, and the sex based on connection. When you truly honest,
Is the best.
that is the best. You feel fulfilled. You don't feel like, right, get out. There's none of that kind of feeling. That's what it's about.
Yeah,
It's
and
that connection, isn't it? But if you get a different girl every single night, how are you feeling inside? Is that fulfilling, or is that really an avoidance of something else? What's really going on? And also, you're bringing somebody else into that madness. Are you being honest about that? Is that consensual? Hey, I really like you, but I don't really want to be in a relationship. I'm going to be putting it about a bit with somebody else. Is that all right with you? Yeah, that's fine.
We never have them conversations, do we?
We don't have those conversations. Addiction isn't classed as an addiction. It doesn't really exist technically. It's impulsive behaviour. It's compulsive behaviour. And that's because you can't really get the tests. You can't really do ethical tests, can you, on teenagers watching and teenagers not watching. You can be addicted to anything. Because it's not the substance. Remember, it's not the amount per se. It's the relationship with it.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Menace to Sobriety. For those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, this isn't just for people that are on a sober journey. This is for anyone that's thinking about their own well-being, trying to understand their mind a little bit more, and just into learning about this kind of stuff. I'm over 3 years sober. This podcast got me sober, and I love all the loyal listeners, so big shout out to you. Just before we get into this, I just want to remind you guys, this is a little opportunity for you to check in. This is a bit of you time, even though it's like you and me. It's a good little bit of you time. So I really want you to get into the mindset when you're listening to this that, you know, for this next hour or so, however long I have your ears, that this is time that you're going to work on yourself. And everything that we discuss in this episode or any episode of Menace to Sobriety, you can take the subject matter and you can change it for whatever you're personally going through. Because everything that we talk about, and we're going to, through this season, we're going to be talking about many different addictions and problems and issues that people have, how they can deal with them, tips and hints and reasons why they might be going through it. But you can take whatever the subject matter is. Like today, we're going to be talking about sex and porn addiction. I don't want to get flagged, so I may say S&P, or I might go and watching naughty videos just so we don't get flagged by the algorithm. But that is the subject matter for today. But you can change that subject matter, you know, into whatever it is that you're dealing with, that you feel you might have an issue with. Because really, a lot of the ways that we can sort these things out, a lot of the reasons why these things are happening are the same throughout the whole scale of addictions. And we've all got many different types of addictions. And sometimes it's not even addiction. Maybe sometimes it's just a little bit of a habit that's getting out of control, or something that's not making you feel good. All right? But what I want to do is a little test around sex and porn. Don't worry, it's not an STD test. You'll be fine. But listen, it is a little test for anyone that seriously thinks that they may have an issue with hypersexuality or compulsive sexual disorder, or I'm not sure what the actual terms are, but essentially with sex or porn. Now, I'm going to read these things out. If you do genuinely think that you may have an issue, or you're just curious to see where you are on the scale, grab a piece of paper and just give a little tick, and then let's count up the ticks at the end. If you have 3 to 4 of these ticks, and you've done 3 to 4 of these things in the last 12 months, you possibly have a problematic hypersexual behaviour, right? If you have 5 to 7, you have moderate compulsive sexual behaviour. If you have 8 or more, it's clear negative consequences, likely that you are a full-blown sex porn addict. All right, so here are the top 10 clinically recognized signs of sex or porn addiction, also called compulsive sexual behavior disorder. Let's have a little look. In at number 1, loss of control, repeatedly engaging in sexual behavior, so porn, hookups, paid sex, masturbation, for far longer or more intensely than intended, even when you say, this is the last time I'm going to do it. So repetitively doing things. 2, unsuccessful attempts to cut or stop doing these things. So you've tried to quit or limit your porn or sex multiple times, but often go back to it within days or weeks. Number 3, tolerance, needing more extreme, risky or novel material or things to do to get the same level of dopamine hits. All right. Number 4, withdrawal, Do you get irritated? Are you anxious or restless or depressed? Or do you get like flu-like symptoms? You feel ill when you try and abstain for a few days. Number 5, spending excessive time obtaining, engaging in or recovering from the behaviour. Hours a day on porn, chat sites, dating apps, or cruising, being mentally checked out of life while you're trying to get sex or porn or whatever. Number 6, giving up important activities, dropping hobbies, exercise, friends, or career ambitions because sexual behaviour takes priority. Or number 7, continuing despite serious consequences. So is it messed up your relationships, your jobs, debt? Are you using sex workers, or have you got STDs or anything like that? That can be a massive issue. And then moving on to the next one, number 8, escalation of risk. So are you engaging in like really risky behaviours, moving from online to real life affairs, or paying for sex, anonymous hookups, or using illegal material, which is a huge red flag? Number 9, using it to cope. Does sex, porn and all of that numb stress, loneliness, boredom, anger, all of that jazz? And number 10, the final one, are you lying about it or keeping it secret? Are you clearing like your browsing history from your partners? Have you got secret accounts? Are you gaslighting people when confronted by it? And are you having affairs? All right, so count them up. That's a little test for you, and let me know how you got on in the comments. Let's introduce the guest. I need to do a massive shout out for our official sponsors, Rehubs. Rehubs are brilliant for those that can't afford the cost of normal rehab or have work commitments or children, etc. Because not everyone requires residential care. Rehubs is an online addiction recovery platform designed to make professional support more affordable for you guys that need help. It's flexible and accessible. The platform combines clinical expertise with digital innovation, providing a structured 28-day online rehab program so you can get better online. They offer ongoing support, and it's all put together by the world's top 1% of scientists on addiction. Rehubs offers evidence-based high-quality care, which has better success rate than some of the most famous residential care rehabs. A lot of people come out of the bubble of residential living care and relapse. Rehubs is a program that you can do in your own environment, giving you the best chance of staying sober in your environment and around your everyday triggers. It's a 28-day program that you can do 7 till 8:30 at night in groups, and then you have a one-to-one session weekly. It also comes with 1 year of aftercare and family support groups for those around you so they can come on your journey with you. It's a lot less scary and a fraction of the cost of conventional rehab. All you got to do is hit the link on my bio on any of my social media platforms. You'll find the link there. If you use rehab services through Menace to Sobriety, a bit of the money is going to come back to us to help fund this podcast. So through helping yourself, you're going to help other people. You'll also get 5% off. The link will be in my YouTube videos and my Menace to Sobriety Instagram bio. All right? Or just DM me on any of the platforms to get the link. Running these podcasts aren't cheap, so lots of love to Rehubs. Hello guys, and welcome to the studio and to Menace to Sobriety. Again, Taner Hassan, head of Rehubs, services at Rehubs. We only rehearsed that 7 times.
Good morning, mate. Good morning.
Before we get into what we're talking about, which we're going to call S&P so we don't hit the negative algorithm, but essentially it's...
Spaghetti and pasta.
Yeah, spaghetti and pasta.
Yeah.
But P, naughty videos. All right, guys, naughty videos is the P, and S is the when you're... and also, yeah, just on your own. Mm-hmm. All right? So...
That's the M.
But before we get into that, Taner, me and you got a bit of history, man, and this is why I really wanted you to come on here. You were obviously season 1 when we kicked off Menace to Sobriety.
Absolutely.
When we were building that beautiful thing, and I was learning about addiction and stuff like that.
And congratulations, by the way, a great
thank
series.
You. Yeah, thank you. That was wicked. Yeah, it really kicked off. But more than that, if and I don't want to get too much into our personal stuff, but when we rewind to one of the times I hit rock bottom when I was in Marbella at my film premiere, Shelley had left me and I couldn't go home, and I stayed in Marbella 3-4 days, session it up, and came to the realisation that I needed help. A mutual friend of ours put me onto you. I made a phone call to you when I was in a cab on the way to the airport, not knowing what I was going to do when I get home, for you to try and help me get into rehab.
Yeah.
And
that's not my recollection. You know that.
no, really.
I think I need to go rehab. I need to get in somewhere. I was like panic stations.
Was that what I was like?
Yeah, I was like, you don't need to go into rehab, man. It was all that, I could feel that panic and that knee-jerk reaction. I thought that was quite telling because, again, that's quite addictive in nature, isn't it? Solution, we need this, we need to chuck it.
Yeah.
And rehab.
I wanted to land and go into rehab, and you were like, that is not the solution right now.
Not now. It's a drastic solution and a very much needed one for people, but not everyone needs to go to rehab straight away. There are things that you should do first before we go into rehab.
Which we sorted out, didn't we?
Absolutely.
And then
we so we did that.
No, thank you. First of all, thank you for that. Because I was on my knees, man. That was a scary time. Fast forward, I'm 3 and a bit years sober.
Congratulations.
You're still sober.
19 years now. Yeah,
congratulations. It's not a competition, but it's an inspiration.
Well, you had more lines in the movie that I was in with you. That was quite good. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, well done in that as well.
He doesn't remember me in that.
I do, of course.
What was my line?
I think it was Ket. No. No, what was your line?
I was just kissing ass at a funeral at the beginning.
Yeah, it was Bermondsey Tales, wasn't
it? That's it, Bermondsey Tales. Yeah, it was quite good fun. So we've known each other for a little bit.
Yeah.
We've seen each other a while.
And also we chat from time to time. Absolutely. But aside from that, tell me why you're on this podcast about this.
Okay, so obviously you want to talk about on this series a lot on very different topics on addiction, not just substance specific. Right?
Yeah.
And so there are many, many different avenues to go down.
Yeah.
And obviously working as the head of service for rehabs, it made sense that we as professionals would come and speak with you around those various topics. So I know that sex and porn, or S&P, that you wanted to discuss in particular, will be a really valuable conversation, because a lot of people that follow you will relate to the sesh, and if they're really honest, I think a lot of them will identify with what we're about to talk about today. Yeah,
some freaky behaviour around stuff they do on their own and with other people. But I'll tell you why I wanted to delve into it as well. Not just for people that are wondering whether or not they've got an issue, but also if it can become an issue if you was to give up alcohol, give up drugs, and move on to another one. Because
perfect.
That's what I thought.
That's a perfect question.
Yeah,
and you're absolutely on the money.
Yeah,
that happens to a large proportion of people. So, I mean, I think if you remember when the first spoke, the overriding obsessive thought to change the way that you feel, and that comes out in all sorts of behaviours.
And that is addiction,
in a nutshell.
So the overriding thought to change the way that we feel. So I always looked at addiction as me not being comfortable in my own skin, or comfortable with situations, or comfortable with stress or anxiety or people or whatever. So I wanted to change how I felt.
So how did you change the way that you felt from those
Drinking,
feelings?
drugs.
Right. So,
but what you're saying is masturbation and ejaculating is this another way to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We can say masturbation
or a distraction.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's so much research around what addiction is. It took a long time for gambling to be classed as an addiction, and still sex and porn addiction isn't classed as an addiction. It doesn't really exist technically. It's impulsive behaviour, it's compulsive behaviour. And that's because you can't really get the tests. You can't really do ethical tests, can you, on teenagers watching porn and teenagers not watching porn. To run tests is going to take a long time if you're doing it from a younger age. And when did it start? But for me, and certainly a belief here at rehabs, is we believe that you can be addicted to anything. Because it's not the substance. Remember, it's not the amount per se. It's the relationship with it.
Yeah. So why you're doing it?
Yeah. So it is exactly what's your why, and then as Gabor Mate says underneath that, what's the pain? And so it's that pain that becomes the why, and that's why you're acting out in the first place. So most people, when they think of a sex addiction, they think it's about the amount. It's almost like wear that with pride, isn't it? Well, I'm a sex addict. I like to tear through loads of... And it's not about that. It's around the relationship with it. That's the problem. How are you left? Are you fulfilled? So when you talked about, around a difficult... We were talking earlier and you had a difficult night, someone had recognised you and you end up in in your hotel room or wherever you were, and then you reach for the food to change the way that you feel, right? You couldn't regulate your emotion.
Yes.
So you wanted to change the way that you felt.
That's what I do. I do it with chocolate, with like big dirty pieces of like chocolate. Like,
right. And that doesn't make you an addict. It doesn't make somebody, you know, as human beings, we want to feel good all the time, right? As human beings, that's what we want. No one wants to wake up and feel like shit every day and go, let's feel shit today. It's like, I want to feel really good about, I just want to change the way that I feel, right? So there's a fine line, but it's what's behind it. And actually in that moment, regulating your emotion was difficult. Yeah. You know, I'm lonely, I'm on my own, etc., etc. All these kind of things. We want to change the way that we feel.
Do you know, if you want me to be completely honest, the narrative in my mind goes, I need something to make me feel good. Like what you just said. I know eating chocolate will make me feel good. But also there's another weird narrative in my mind that's like, when I'm on my own, I used to do something that was naughty, like drugs. Like I'm on my own. I ain't got my missus around, my kids, and I know this probably makes me sound like a bad person, but I'm sure people out there will relate to it. Like, I don't want to be like fucking working hard on being a good person right now. I want to do something naughty, and the only thing that I'm allowed to do that was naughty was a big chocolate fucking fudge cake.
And does it make you a bad person, or recognising that you're an unwell person at that time? You know, I think there's a big difference.
I definitely think that probably works the same with sex and masturbation, doesn't it? But it's a problem. You shouldn't be thinking that, should you?
No. I mean, look, the reality is, with all addictions, shame is a big part of it. It's a shame-based, what we believe is an illness. It's a shame-based illness, you know, and it's the only illness that tells you haven't got it as well. It tells you lies. I'm all right to everybody else, you know, and then all of a sudden there's the trigger and then you go. But shame is a big part of it. And so for you, when we're looking at, say, sex and porn, specifically, it's not just about your appetite. You know, it's not, I guess you have to put it in the same category as eating, right? So with drugs, we kind of want to abstain from drugs to get better. But with sex and food, you can't really abstain from food. You're going to die. And sexual desire is sexual desire. We're all meant to procreate, and sex is fun. So it's around the relationship with it that's the important bit. And most people out there will think that sex and porn is all right. Don't forget, it's very much a man's world. Very much so. Porn is catered for us, you know, but there are victims, not just, say, females that are doing this kind of type of content, but men are also the victims. When you look at the amount of access you can get now, the rating scales, the way that people can access via apps, it's like so in your face. And it's like no different to back in the day when you probably couldn't get heroin in a pub. That's kind of normal now. You can get coke anywhere at any time. And so we have this access, and that from a younger age. Like you and I are similar age, right? So it would have been magazines, or someone's got a magazine, or someone's got a VHS tape that was a German one that's been circulating around the group for ages.
Or you find a porno in a bush.
Or an alleyway, you know, all those kind of stuff behind HMV or whatever it was, all that kind of stuff. But now it's like you can do it on your own anytime. Tap into the Wi-Fi, there it is. You know,
what what would be the first signs that someone's got an issue here?
Yeah, I mean that's a good question, because actually the signs are really hard to detect. It's not as obvious like when you were drinking and using. Your partner knew straight away. Like eventually they know, people know. But when it comes to that, there are often no warning signs until it's too late. The biggest one is the financial aspect. So if it's costing you more than money, so then you're starting to see money deplete, and that's where those signs come. So that's the problem with sex and porn addiction, is that quite often it's too late when you figure it out, when people find out. There is no obvious early signs.
So what you're saying is like casually looking at porn is natural, do you think? Yeah.
And this is another thing I want to clear up as well, is that if we're talking about this, it doesn't mean we're anti it.
Yeah.
You know, that's really important. You know, we're not anti it. It can be used as a positive sexual aid.
Yeah, I mean...
Picture the scene. A young guy comes from a religious background, never had any sex education because it's against their religious beliefs. They can't really talk about it. Feels the odd one out in front of all of his mates. They're all talking about it. He's inquisitive and wants to learn about it. Is that wrong?
No.
You know, it's down to a personal choice. It's not about that, but it's about what it represents to you. And for most men, if they're really gut level honest, and I will answer your original question around people that are in early sobriety, and do they go on to that? The reality is when they're looking at that type of content, they're doing it to change the way they feel. And what is that reason? Is it there's a loneliness? Is it that they can't cope with their emotions? They don't have the words to articulate, I'm not happy in my relationship. Are they completely single and feel that they've low self-worth, low self-esteem?
Questions. Wow.
So many. It's not just one thing. It's so many, and it's different to everybody else. Some people will be completely shamed. For example, they lost their erection during sexual activity. Well, porn's never going to shame you or judge you or let you down, is it? So, you know, it's always understanding the motive behind it. But for quite a lot of people, a lot of men certainly, is that low self-worth, low self-esteem, that deeper loneliness, you know, that dissatisfied. But of course, then that will affect their own sexual desire anyway. Their own sexual relationships will, because the dopamine levels are a lot slower releasing in dopamine than say with sex and with porn. Sorry, because porn is an instant release of dopamine in the brain, so it's changing the chemical.
So when you're watching it, you're getting dopamine.
Absolutely.
But when you're having sex, you're not getting the same dopamine.
When you called it on, you got a bigger dopamine release calling it on, knowing that it's arriving from the actual using it. Would you agree?
With Coke, yeah.
As an example.
You get excited,
100%.
yeah. You've made the call, it's come in, here we go.
Toes are going, here we go. It's all, and then when you get it, it's like, there it is, and then you're using it. It's far less than actually when you called it on, and that's kind of, you know, same the scrolling. You know, when you're looking for the content, that's the
exciting.
Hit. That's the hit. If you're going on social media and you're clicking through it, that's the hit. It's that motion. Yeah. In fact, the person who created that wrote a paper about how that's also addictive. But he created on the internet so you can just scroll rather than wait for the next page. So he wrote a massive big paper on that, and then wrote a massive big paper on how it's addictive. So it's that motion. And I think people are doing that with porn as well. On top of that, it's not just enough. I want to go down a different rabbit hole, because of course the brain's now got used to your 4% cider. Now I want, you know, 20% vodka, etc., etc. So your tolerance levels. So that yeah. Before we go on to sex, just while we're on porn, so that was the next thing I was going to ask. Would a sign be that you're looking for more extreme stuff? Yeah, I mean, it's not everybody's story. It's not everyone's story, but I think it's like everything. You build a tolerance. You know, if you were to, whatever that acting out is, you're going to reach that ceiling, and you need more. You're going to need more. I always say addictions are a drug of more. Yeah. It's more. It's never enough. It's fulfilling that void that can never be filled. Yeah. And it's constant, and it might move around. So for people that are in early recovery, as you talked about, that can be the next thing, because I do believe a lot of this stuff is around attachment. It's around our relationships with the world and our relationships with the self.
Do you think it's like, without sounding stupid, saying it's like a not like a hobby, but like something for yourself? You know, because I feel, I mean, I'm just talking from my own personal perspective. I don't know if anyone will relate to this, but definitely drinking and drugs in the latter years of my drinking and drugs, it was something for me, you know, because I'm fucking working hard, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing it. What am I doing for me? And you know, Friday night having beers and then getting on it, that was for me. It was my time.
Yeah, destroying yourself.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. When you look back on it now, it's like, oh, wow.
It's just the illusion, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's just the bullshit. Yeah. Half the brain manufactures bullshit, the other half buys it.
I mean, what's really for me is when I go to the gym to come back home to be in a better mood for my family. That's for me, and then in turn it's for them. It's more positive. But I feel like when you're looking at naughty videos and stuff like that online, which we all do, like I do it from time to time, you know what I mean? I can't just rely on the old imagination but I have got 4 kids, so luckily it's an addiction that I don't think I can, you know what I mean? Like I'm so busy and stuff like that and I don't mind being a bit personal about it. But when I do, it does feel weird talking about it. But when I do, isn't it taboo? Isn't it weird? Like you can't.
It is taboo still, isn't it?
Even though everyone does it, I know everyone does it. I mean, I talk about it on stage. I do a whole section on stage about that, right? And I talk about because what I talk about is. Keir Starmer bringing on the online safety bill, right? So that you have to and I do a load of jokes about lads trying to find their passports and putting their passports in and all that. And at the beginning of the tour, up until I done Birmingham, it was all about men, right? I was saying like men do this, and when I grew up, I done that. And at Birmingham, the women went mental, and they went, "What about us?" And I was like, "Oh, is it not crude?" And they were like, "What? We don't? You don't think we do?" And this one woman actually, she was like, shouting at me from like in the middle, and she was like, "Yeah, we watch that. We know all the sites and everything." So everyone does it, and I was a little bit taken back. I mean, I didn't go back and ask Shelley what she watched, but I mean, I was like, I get it, right? Everyone watches it, but even talking about it, it's a bit icky to talk about it. But
why is it icky to talk about?
Because I don't want the viewers and listeners to imagine me crunched over my phone masturbating.
It's that fear of judgment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's that fear of judgment. But actually, we all have sexual desire.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. It's not about what's healthy or unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's around establishing sexual positivity. So positive sexuality is important. When you're in that stuff, you're in negative sexuality. And we know that because if you ask those people that are doing it, how do you feel? Like, for example, when you had the chocolate eclairs or whatever you had that night, when you woke up in the morning, did you feel like shit for eating that?
Yeah.
Did you give yourself a hard time for eating that?
Yeah, because I go gym all fucking week, and then or maybe I missed a couple of sessions, and then on top of that, and also why, like how pathetic. That...
Right. So for you, that was a big problem for you.
Yeah.
Because you
it's kind of 50-50 because the other half of me is like, well, at least it weren't a bag of gear.
Absolutely right. So at least it wasn't this. But what you've recognised is I was trying to change the way that I feel.
Yeah.
And, and I've kind of deviated from my plan of where I want. So that's an individual experiential process that you have to go through to go, well, that's not how I want to use it as a coping mechanism. I need to figure something else out.
Yeah.
And so for you, that's what you felt. For someone else, it'd be like, nah, I was all right. So if someone's using porn and I ask them, how are you with that? And they go, well, I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that. And no one else suffers from it. I don't feel suffered from it. Then who are we to say it's a problem?
Right. So what you're saying is it's only really a problem if people are using it to escape a feeling, and that makes them feel bad afterwards.
Yeah.
Like for instance, I'll watch porn if I'm horny, right?
Quite common, yeah.
Yeah, I watch porn if I'm horny, if I'm like, and I don't want to bother the missus, do you know what I mean, or whatever. But maybe if I'm lonely as well, like I ain't gonna lie. Maybe if I'm like on tour, and do you know what I mean?
Do you know why we do that? Because the association has been created that we feel we cannot masturbate without porn, and that's just madness. What do you think happened when masturbation has been around for God knows how long?
Well, the cavemen, they probably drew pictures on the wall, didn't they?
I don't know if they did.
Do you know what I mean?
That's an interesting notion, but the reality is we've associated that, and so that's where mindful.
So our
comes.
parents or our grandparents, they just used to off the bank.
Some of them didn't, if you remember. People, self-pleasure was like almost again a taboo subject.
Oh,
we're
right.
quite open that it's absolutely fine to do that.
I can't comprehend that because I'm quick as it is in bed. You know what I mean? I'm not getting personal, but
Sounds like you are, but
sorry, rehabs are like, we weren't up for this.
yeah, this is not what we signed up for.
But all right, but
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. So the point is that we're not here. When we're dealing with sex and porn addiction or impulsivity, whatever you want to talk about it, it's not about saying that any of that behaviour is wrong. It's around what you feel was positive. So you might be in an open relationship with another partner and you go and do all that, and that's positive for you guys. That's not positive for me or positive for someone else. Yeah,
but if someone, say for instance, what they should look out for then is if they're having a bad day at work and then looking at porn, or they need it before they go to sleep every night, or what things could we say that you want to look out for? Any warning signs? I think that's important because everyone I know does it, but where's the line where you think that maybe this is going from something that's natural to something that maybe is excessive and verging on an addiction?
Looking at your irritation, if you're getting irritated when you're not, if you are finding that your own sex life is taking a backseat because your attention's going over to the quick dopamine fix. And I think being really honest about how you feel when you do it. If you've got no problems on it, then you've got no problems on it. But if it's taking over in the sense that you feel you need to, or you're hiding away from, or you're using it as an escapism, then these are, and you know this, there's no education that can teach someone that. You know that. People that are listening or watching you will know 100%. Yeah, I do that.
I need it a bit too much. I'm thinking about it when I should be working or whatever.
So mindful masturbation is one of the tools that we talk about. Mindful masturbation sounds really odd, but it makes a lot of sense. Because if you try and draw when I've worked with clients certainly, and when therapists have worked with clients at rehabs with this particular addiction, if you've got a relationship and you're not really having sex with your partner, but you are acting out, thinking about your partner can be really helpful when you're masturbating, because most people think, well, I can't do that without porn. And so drawing on your own experiences. The problem with going into fantasy mode, though, is you start thinking about maybe the sex worker I paid for, or maybe that strip club I went to, and then it creates that fantasy-esque again. So mindful masturbation is about being at one with your body, really sort of just acknowledging, like when you was a teenager, as an example. And again, I don't want to get too graphic on it, but you'll understand the point I'm trying to make. When you're a teenager and the first time you figured out what it feels like, and what happens when I do that. Well, we've all, as men, we've all been through that self-pleasure route. We've all, that first time, what happens when it does this. That's mindful masturbation. That's mindful. You're being, nothing matters but that moment. Nothing matters but that. There's no fantasy around a lady in a bikini or any of that kind of stuff. You're in the moment. And that's what we try and educate men to do, so that they can come away from the association of using porn to get off.
I don't think I could get off like that because I've watched so much porn.
Right.
So I'm just being honest, like, and from what you see on the internet scrolling anyway, I think that would be an issue because maybe we've been spoiled with excitement, or but I understand what you mean, that the act of doing it should be enough.
But then if we followed that logic, then no one would ever get sober, because they want mates drink and everybody goes to the pub on a Friday. That's what you do. So what do? Do you just continue that and feel like shit, or do you actually make changes in your life? Yeah. And it's how badly you want it, and how much is it, what are the consequences of those actions.
That's really interesting, man.
And so anything can be changed. It's just about it's not unlearning, it's relearning another way. It's relearning another route and having a much more positive relationship with sex and porn. That's basically it.
We're going to get onto sex if we can still.
Yeah.
If I still got time, if you've got the time for me.
I shall make the time for you.
But I think that a massive, when I look at my own habits, and luckily what sobriety I think has definitely given me is like a bit of self-awareness. Like I know I can feel myself, like we've had discussions about it. I mean, you said I should reach out more, which is probably one of the things that I need to do a little bit more when I'm struggling, as we all should. But that compounding escalation of a habit, you can feel. So like, it could be hobnobs, like, which I famously spoke about in the first season. I know it sounds so ridiculous, but for me, it is right there in front of me, right? I could see it. At some point, I reached for a pack of hobnobs, right? And then at home, I was just going in the kitchen, having one or two, until I was taking them up to bed with me, like the pack. And then I was having 3 or 4, which is quite a lot of hobnobs, actually. They're really rich and they're big, 3 or 4 before bed, until I couldn't go sleep till I was having them. And I was going through, those chocolate hobnobs are so good. And I was going through 4 packets a week of them.
Wow.
And then I got to a point, but I was getting up at 4:30 and boxing, so the weight weren't coming on, because I was training so hard. So it's like I wasn't like getting really fat and going, oh my God, look at the state of me. I was like feeling really fit and stuff. And then one day I was just like, that has escalated so fast. And I imagine that can happen with porn.
Absolutely. I mean, was that early days? That
was as soon as I went sober. It was like I stopped. I know a little bit more about it now, that I was just fucking lacking dopamine, man. Or after years and years of drink and cocaine abuse, I must have been so low.
But don't forget how much sugar is in those chocolate hobnobs.
Well, yeah, recently I started fasting, so I've been trying to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I've been trying to, from the night before about 8 o'clock, go all the way through till 5 the next day, so about 22 hours. And I suddenly realised that every morning I go coffee, sugar, and then I go coffee, sugar, till about 11, as well as the food. So the first couple of days I'd done that, my head was like, oh, and I was like, that's got to be the sugar. So I just had black coffee, and I think that's really helped me with my ADHD, to be honest with you, because I was fucking all over the place.
The sugar, yeah. Look, it responds in the same way in the brain, but don't forget, from you stop using alcohol, you've now stopped all that sugar. Well, the brain is still not satisfying for sugar. So
is alcohol full of sugar? Yeah, I didn't know.
So of course, absolutely. So therefore, what we used to encourage clients is that you're going to go through the craving. You can't stop a craving. You can't, as in, you can't help the craving. The craving comes. The compulsion.
Do you think that's what that was then?
Absolutely, in the early days. So therefore, like that's nice. And there's the sugar, there's the sugars, and then before you know it, you've created a habit, and now you're just really in it, and off you go. I would suggest to clients drink pints of lemonade to take the edge off, because then it's it's like people used to say about smoking weed, like, oh, I can't. But it was the nicotine in the weed that they were craving more than the weed itself. And it's just understanding the science and the components within these kind of chemicals that we're putting in our body.
Yeah.
But again, to answer your question there, it's like it's quite common for people in early recovery, and any of your followers that follow you that might have pursued the same journey you have found it, that once they stop the sesh, once they stop drinking, suddenly they're looking at relationships. I need to be over here, this one will fix me, and we're off there, and we're trying to change the way that we feel. For some of us, we might not be able to do that. We feel that we would go inside ourselves, because now we've got nothing to cover up. No drink or drugs to cover up. Now we feel raw and we feel we're quite low, and I actually can't talk to another person, so I'll just find the screen, and this will be nice, and this will be fine. And again, it's just that addiction's just moving around, isn't it? And so there's going to be a relief. You're going to get a payoff from that. People can use sex to hide from intimacy. It's a way of avoiding intimacy. It's all about the motive. And we're not focused on the amounts. The amounts are irrelevant. You could be a heavy drinker and drink more than, say, what someone classes themselves as an alcoholic. So it's the relationship with the substance that's the issue. So your relationship with sex is the issue, not
why you're doing it, how you feel after, why you're using it.
Yes.
So I just want to use, if we can touch on sex before we finish up. Of
course.
We've been heavily on the porn there, but I've got a friend of mine, right? I'm not going to name any names. I tried to get him to come on here. I'll tell you exactly what he said. I didn't actually realise that you were coming in for this episode until yesterday. Yeah. And I, for some reason, when James said to me, "Oh, we've got a sex expert," she's da-da-da, I thought it was a woman, right? So I was like, "Oh my God, I'm going to be a bit embarrassed talking about this." And I said to my mate, now maybe this is an indicator. I said to my mate, "Listen, I'm doing an episode," because I always talk to him messing around in the group that we're in. I'm like, "Mate, listen, out of all the addicts I know, and I know a lot, I think you're up there, mate." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Shut up. I'll tell you why in a minute." But I said to him, I've got this woman that's coming on to talk about sex and porn addiction. I'd love to get you to call in and we'll have a little chat and see. He said, "What? If I called in, I'd probably end up shagging her." And I went, "Wow."
I'm not available.
No, I know. But I just went, "Mate, even when I'm talking about this, the first thing you thought about was sex." Now, my pal, he's a good-looking lad, he's got a good bit of dough, nice cars, whatever, tool. I won't describe him too much because you'll probably work out who he is. But he, minimum, and I mean minimum, he'll see 4 different girls a week, minimum. But he really, and I'm being deadly serious, no word of a lie, he really... a different bird every night, but he rotates them, and he's constantly on the dating apps and stuff like that. Very outgoing when it comes to sex, shares videos and pictures and and all of this stuff. And
bless him. That's where I go to. Bless him.
Yeah.
That is some serious, extreme low self-worth and low self-esteem. Needs that validation from you lot in the group, because what he wants is to go, "Well done. Oh my God, amazing. I wish I could do all that," because you're giving him what he can't give himself.
Is that what that is?
Potentially. I mean, he's not here to answer for himself, but when I hear stories like that, and that's quite common, I hear that to me makes me feel sad, because I just think, really, that's not reaching your fullest potential, and that's not what you really want to do. And do they all know about each other, these women? And probably not. And how would they feel? He's not in that place, but that's all a lot of self-worth, low self-esteem, which is probably a good point to bring on, that when you're looking at a sex addiction, it comes in the form of an opportunity, attachment issues, and trauma, and sometimes all 3. It can be one or two of the 3. Or
can
all
you
3.
Talk me through the 3 things?
So, trauma being obvious, going through a traumatic experience, whatever that might be.
So something that happened to him in his past, or something he's going through now.
Something he's going through. Let's keep it on topic. So let's say there was a sexual episode, and the whole episode was traumatic, and now it's put that person off from getting close. So now I might use sex or not at all, but I might use it to get in front of it and sort of own it and sort of not really get deep and intimate, because when I did open up my heart and get really vulnerable, I was shamed and I found that whole experience traumatic, etc., etc., etc. Another one, attachment, could be around your relationships. You know, how were you brought up? What was your relationships like? You know, is this little you acted out inside, the little child that wants that love and connection, and as an adult we seek that out in sex. And love, right? Is it that's missing? So is there an attachment issue? Are there, you know, you've heard the term daddy issues and mummy issues. Sometimes these things do play out, you know, sometimes they do play a part in why we act the way that we do in certain relationships. So there's the attachment issue there, and then there's the opportunity, like you said about the apps. You know, we've got the opportunity. No one will know. I'm in the hotel room on my own. No one will know. I work hard. I deserve to. I play hard. Right? Why not? I'll leave early from events and no one will know. I've got a different girl in a different town. No one will know. You know, there's the opportunity because they're paying me some attention. There's the opportunity. I can do what I want, etc., etc. So they're the three things, that the threefold of what kind of happens really when it comes to that sort of stuff. So yeah.
I mean, to me, it's fun. To me, it was fun and games at first, and I hope, in a way, I hope he does watch or listen to this, but he might get the hump. But I put a lot of stuff on him in the group. Actually, in front of the other lads, I say, you know, I get information about sex and love addiction. I didn't know that there was a love addiction as well, which is like relationships, I guess, isn't it? And I put it in there to him and he shrugs it off. And then sometimes he could, like yesterday when I was talking about this, that I was going to do this, he was saying, look, I know I've got a problem, but I don't care. I'm enjoying my life. And like, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, that sounds like me with Coke or drink back in the day. You know what I mean? But the thing that gets me down is there's nothing else with him. Like with him, it's business. He's very successful in business. But every night it's his routine now. He'll tell us, or he stopped telling us now actually, because I talk about it, you know what I mean? I try not to shame him, but I don't play up to it. I'm not like impressed by it. Do you know what I mean? So, but
why is he talking about it in the group? If you don't want, if these are your mates, these are your guys, these are your group, don't talk about it if you don't want. If you're going to hear an answer you don't like, you know, you've got to be prepared for that. But if you are calling him out on it in the group, yes, that can be quite shaming. So I would pick that up off the group if you genuinely, you know.
I think I have been shaming him a little bit just because. But maybe I need to. Well, I don't think he cares, but maybe he does. But it's not been good from me. Maybe I feel like I'm helping sometimes, but maybe doing it in there. But he never it never seems like it's a problem to him. It always seems like it's fun and games to him. But the reason why it gets me down, right, a little bit sometimes is because he's such a nice, kind, caring lad, right? Like as a friend, he's like, you know, you'd ring him, he'd be there, like, and he's really nice. But I'm in a relationship with Shelley, which is up and down like everyone else's is, but ultimately we're really good friends, and I want him to have that. Like I think that you know, he's got a nice house and he's got all these supercars and everything like that, and I'm like, I just feel like he's got it a bit wrong. But who am I to judge? But I'm wondering if anyone else out there that is going through this, and I thought this was an important one for especially the lads that are following me, that if they're going from one girl to another girl to another girl to another girl to another girl, and they're feeling like kind of just like fucking empty, like how can they change that? Because especially lads that can get girls, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially lads, like he's one of these lads. He's tall. I won't describe him too much, but he can nick a bird, right? That in fact they come to him, which is a rarity. How do men like that stop that behaviour? It's
quite hard. I guess it's like also challenging grandiose behaviour. How can an entitled person be challenged around entitlement? You know, you know, it does happen. There are top successful people that still need help at some point when they've had enough. And exactly as you're saying, you're putting it in your narrative because you're responding to it. You're thinking, cool, I resonate with that in the ill sense. You're like, So all you can do is gently just say, look, you know, I think to me it sounds like this. If there is an issue, come and speak to me. But some people aren't ready. They're in denial. Some people genuinely are okay with that. And sometimes we might be looking at that because deep down we might be thinking, wish I could do that.
Oh, 100%. Oh, don't get me wrong. Me and my pal are both like, he's got a fucking Lamborghini, a Ferrari and a different bird every night, fancy wash, and he's always on holidays. Do you know what I mean?
But that's external. What's happening internal?
Well, that's the thing. He never gives that away, and also, I've probably lost a lot of friends because of this. Like I'm on my own journey. I'm in touch with what's going on with me. Other people might not give a fuck what's going on with them, or that I don't want to be in touch with them. So when I start them narratives, I'm like, mate, yeah, it sounds fun, but how are you feeling about it? He's like, mate, fuck off. Like,
yeah, because we're again, it's that association. We don't have those kind of chats, which is sad. We need to change that narrative, because actually, I think when you look at it, it very much is a man's world in that way. Porn was created for men. You know, yes, there are female creators and whatnot, but it's mainly for men. And by default, we've got an association again where women will say, well, that's what men do, isn't it? And well, that's what they do. They go and do that. And well, that's what we do. We're men. We do that. And actually, men, also use women like batteries. And that's something that...
What do you mean?
So I'll explain what I mean by that. So if we've had a really hard day at work, or you've had a really bad day at work, a lot of men would think, oh, I'd love to get into a bit of that. This will sort me out. You know, I have sex with my partner, or receive oral, or whatever it's going to be. And we use the sexual stimulation, the sexual pleasure as the payoff to make us feel better. Therefore, we need that energy to make us feel better. So we almost use that women as a vessel, like a battery.
But that's void. That's void of connection and love, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we're looking at the physical symptom, the physical payoff, right? Which is get it in there, change the way I feel, and I feel all better.
So the key takeaway from talking to you today is all being around. If you're using it as a way to change the way you feel, then maybe it needs readdressing.
Absolutely, because you should be masturbating because you're horny, and that's what you want, fine. Having sex because you want to connect with your partner and you're enjoying it, that's fine. It's going to be very difficult to say that to a single person who's like, I'm not about connection, I want to play the field and do what I want to do. Well, that's fine, but if you're getting a different girl every single night, how are you feeling inside? Is that fulfilling, or is that really an avoidance of something else? What's really going on? And also, you're bringing somebody else into that madness. Are you being honest about that? Is that consensual? Hey, I really like you, but I don't really want to be in a relationship. I'm going to be putting it about a bit with somebody else. Is that all right with you? Well, that's fine.
We never have them conversations, do we?
We don't have those conversations, and I think this is the point. It is a taboo subject. I think a lot of it is because people put it in the offender category. You know, there's certain famous people that have come out and said, well, it's because I'm a sex addict. Well, no, actually, you're a deviant, and you're using the fact that you've got a sex addiction. Because you've got a sex addiction doesn't mean you've lost the value of consent. I want to be very clear on that. Yeah. And that's why we need to make sure that's two very separate things. You know, does every alcoholic kill people by drink driving? No, you know, that's right. A choice in that moment. So, I mean, maybe it's a bit of a bad analogy, but the point is, it's still a taboo subject.
It's relative. Yeah.
It is, and we have to remember that really connection is what it's all about. If every child, every single one of us was told that we were loved, that they believed in us, and that we've got you, and all that kind of nourishing stuff, and we took that into adulthood, a lot of these problems probably wouldn't be there. But we're all from a melting pot of all different things and core beliefs and experiences that we've had that informs the choices that we make.
Yeah, I think ultimately, for my pal and for other people, for when maybe it looks like this. When me and him were going down similar roads, where he had women throwing themselves at him, and he was just, that was more accessible to him, maybe, and drugs was more accessible to me. They became our coping mechanisms. And what advice would you give to anyone that's maybe listened to this or watched this that thinks, maybe I need to reevaluate my relationship with either, you know, porn or sex? What alternative things could they look for, or what could they do to regulate that?
Apart from coming to see us at rehabs,
nice pick.
Little plug.
Yeah. What does rehabs do, mate? Just quickly.
So we treat all levels of addiction.
Right. It's affordable, though, isn't it? It's not.
Well, that's right. Not everyone needs to go to residential rehab. So some people, it's in the community.
Yeah.
Because they can't, because of work, commitments, family. Cost is a big one. It's not to replace residential, because some people need residential, but if you don't, this is online treatment. So you do your same group therapy you would do online with your group for 28 days. You get aftercare, relapse prevention.
What was that cost? The
costs, it depends on the program that you're on and how long you want to go on for. But if you give us a call, the admissions team will be able to assist you in that. I sound really awful because I'm at that level where I don't worry about that sort of side of things. Right. I look at the other element. I don't really look at that cost factor, and that's mainly because my I look over the treatment and
but I know from conversations before that it is affordable.
It's definitely under
cheaper than
like a third of the cost. But rightly so, because you're not, you haven't got a housekeeper there, you haven't got food to worry about, and the building and whatnot. You're in your own house, but it's in the comfort of your own home. And the reason for it is because we believe that we can treat addiction from the origin in which it starts. So rather than you worrying about coming out of rehab and I've got to go back to that area, you're in that area now.
You keep in your environment and get well in your environment. Yeah.
Imagine you was on the program, you'd finished doing your tour, and you're in that hotel room, and you had access to that, and you're straight into. How much is that going to be of value to the group to say, this is what I've been through and this is how I'm feeling right now? You're dealing with everyday stuff right in the moment.
But outside of that, what could people do?
Outside of rehabs, well, I think just asking yourselves that question in the first place is absolutely key. For me, we can't force anybody to say you must have a problem like with your friend, because if he's not hurting anyone and no one feels hurt in that process and he doesn't feel hurt from this process, despite what you might think or feel, and he's fine with that, then what can you do? Until someone says, hey, I think I've had enough, or actually vocalizes that there is an issue, there's not much you can really do, but just be gentle around that. But for people that are watching, they've already reviewed it. And most men have reviewed it and gone, actually, I'm doing that a bit too much. I am doing that. So then ask yourself, well, what's the reason? What is your motive? I always say it.
What are you escaping?
Yeah, absolutely. What is your motive for doing X? What is the motive for doing Y?
Yeah.
That doesn't change. That's what you should be doing. Reducing your usage on the phones. I think a lot of people get triggered by social media.
Yeah.
So, men's world content.
My God, the algorithm can kick off a bash.
Can it? Can it just 10:30? You're thinking, hold on, how have I gone from the lovely floral setting, this woman meditating, and all of a sudden I've got this other lady shaking her butt, and how have we got there?
Yeah.
In the next reel, so it's looking at limiting that. Also, you can put all the password blockers. You can put blockers on your thing for porn.
You can. You can set that up. Yeah.
You can set those sort of things up. You can give other people codes. There are ways, and the same around certain places. So if it's paying for sex workers, as an example, looking at what that is, and cams and all this kind of stuff.
I think anyone that's doing that has got an issue. I'm just going to say it. Like, do you know what I mean? If I'm not saying that you're an addict, but I'm just saying that it's behaviour outside the realms of normality. But I get it. If you're paying for a sex worker or cams or stuff like that, I think ultimately it's because maybe you're seeking connection outside of you can't achieve that connection in everyday life, which is.
And maybe I shouldn't say this, but. It's not just the addiction or not. There is that bit in the middle. Look at the world we're living in today.
Yeah.
Look at, when we look at some of the content, the parodies you're taking up because of the subjects that are coming up. We're grafting. We're grafting more than ever. We're paying more tax than ever. We want to change the way that we feel because a lot of people are unhappy in their lives.
Like, so the country's a mess. Things are, and looking for excitement or escapism.
It doesn't make you an addict, but I think it increases that risk of us seeking out these things to change us.
But maybe saying that you had a problem is the wrong terminology. What I mean is, I bet it doesn't make you feel good about yourself. You know what I mean? So,
what's the payoff, isn't it? That's the question you're asking. If you can answer honestly that the payoff is positive, then that's fine. But if you're questioning it, I don't think that's normal anyway. I don't think anyone who hasn't got a problem with something, they don't question it.
You don't ask, no.
You don't go, I shouldn't have done that, and why did I do that again? And if you're doing that, that's you're already on the way. So then seek out some help, seek out some guidance. But it's possible.
I think just to finish up, because we've probably been chatting for hours, but a massive thing that I think serves me well at the moment, or in life in general, when I can think to do it, is to look at it, research it, is to explore. Like, for instance, I know my mind constantly plays tricks on me, and I know when it's been a dickhead. So to stop and be like, hold on, is this right? Should I be doing this? And actually, like Grok or ChatGTP or all these things now, you can put in there just like, this is what I'm doing. Is this normal? Or what would you think? Or how, So don't just accept thought processes and behaviours of yourself as normality, maybe.
But thoughts are just thoughts. You have 65,000 thoughts a day. but they only become activated when you give them meaning, right? So we have thousands of thoughts a day. You can't remember every single thought you have. So the only
ones that matter are the ones you act on.
Right, because that's when they become activated and that's when they become meaningful. So I think really it's just... it's an interesting topic. We need to talk more of it.
Yeah.
You're right. There are a lot of females that talk about this subject. So I do get asked to talk a lot about it because I'm a male and I offer that kind of refreshing standpoint, I guess, as a man. I'm not against porn. I'm not against this stuff. I'm against people that are living in denial. If they're in pain and it's hurting others and they need help, I'm against all that. Come forward. Let's have the conversation. And let's talk about it. There's a massive increase between sex and porn addiction with cocaine use.
Oh my God!
Massive amounts. The dopamine hits, the instant dopamine release that we talk about. That looking for more. It's connected.
It must be something connected with, like, you're getting hits off the gear, and then you're like, what's next? Like, hits off the porn.
It's the reward. It's the reward, isn't it? The reward.
And it makes you horny for some. Yeah.
Well, absolutely, but it just heightens it up and just keeps that going. But actually, it's synthetic. It's just not real.
Yeah.
And you cannot beat that real. If we're really honest, we're going to sound mushy for a minute, but you cannot beat that real value of you in your own partner that you love and cherish and connect with, and the sex based on connection. When you're truly honest,
is the best.
That is the best. You feel fulfilled. You don't feel like, right, get out. There's none of that kind of feeling. That's what it's about.
Yeah,
it's that connection, isn't it?
I think a lot of men especially, but I'm sure because we're men, and I always talk about my own personal experience, but women as well. I think a beautiful thing that we could all learn to do a little bit more is something that I'm trying to do, and that's just slow down and work longer for your gratification. You know what I mean? Slow down and be like, do you know what would be better for me? To just work on myself for a bit, maybe try and get a relationship and build that if I'm lonely, or go to the gym for my dopamine. Just slow down.
Fill your own cup, relationship with self, learn about you, fill that cup, then you can then go out there and because if I can't look after myself or love myself and look in the mirror and love what I'm about, is what we teach our clients is, how can you be of value to anybody else? How can you do that for somebody else?
Yeah.
Because ultimately you're not going to have that self-acceptance, are you? I've got this lovely relationship, but I don't believe I deserve it.
It's been lovely. Finally, what's the link to your OF? No, I'm only joking. Imagine if this was all just to push your own naughty pics. Rehub's going to hate me.
I'll get fired.
Taner, I love you, man.
Yeah, me too, likewise.
How poignant to have you back on season 3. Thank you very much.
Really good to see you, man.
Thank you very much for joining us for that amazing episode. What's really important to me is that you guys connect with me and let me know if you've connected with the episode. You can do that on any of the Instagrams, my personal Dapper's Instagram, or Menace to Sobriety. We're also on TikTok. We put loads of clips up there. Use the inbox if you want to reach out to us, because we do read out and listen to the voice messages. Also, Men and Their Emotions. We are in association with Mate, which is my Facebook group. This is for men, just because I built it off my own personal experience. If you're a man and you're struggling and you want lived experience from other men, come join the conversation. There's 60,000 of us in my group. It's an official charity now. We're raising money for counselling for lads and dry houses for men struggling with addiction. That's Men and Their Emotions, Mate, on Facebook. Also, if you want to laugh, come see me on tour. I am selling out shows across the country. There's only 60 shows to choose from. All you got to do is go to Dan Live. Links are in the bio. Dan Live. Come see me for a live show. But I will pre-warn you, my stand-up comedy is slightly different to this podcast because it's very offensive and it will make those that are easily offended cry. So if you're a little bit of a wet wipe, that's not for you. But luckily this podcast is. Coming soon. Sessions, my film. Keep an eye out for that. I love you guys. Please make sure you subscribe and let me know in the comments what you're thinking of the new podcast. See you soon.
Let's have it!
It was amazing!
Absolute class.
You're his man. Oh, fucking hell. I've had my mental health journeys.
I love you because of it.
Oh, thank you very much, my friend. I love you too.
Best comedian going, love him to bits.
How long have you been together? 8 years! And you're still holding hands. Grow up, man.
The show was absolutely hilarious.
Being uncancelled, like 10 years, and getting sober, and then getting here. So I just want to say thank you. My brand new 60-date 2026 UK tour is already over 70% sold out. Get your tickets to your local show quick, sharpish, while you still can.